good morning and welcome to Ask Mason. This is the show we do about every other week, just talking about different questions that come up in our community, trying to explain those so that we have complete transparency. For the next few weeks, Derek's on leave, and you'll probably just see me or myself and a guest. That being said, let's get right to it. Please don't forget that the websites you can send in your questions to are askmason@enid.org. And always remember, we'll never use your name, so you don't have to worry about being embarrassed on air. So if you have those questions, send them in. A couple things I wanted to mention before I get started today is if you did not have an opportunity to go out over the weekend, specifically Saturday, to the Memorial Day event that was held out at Woodring Airport, I would encourage you to do that in the future. It is quite the event. Elaine Johns works on that, puts it all together, puts an enormous amount of work into that event. But when it all comes together, we honor so many of our veterans, and this year we honored 3 of our Ghost Star parents that had lost loved ones while in the service of the military. It was a great event. It was at the Joint Use Hangar, and the reason I even mention that is those are large facilities, and we use about half of one of those, but every single seat was full, and there were people standing in the back. So it's a great event, Bring your kids out there, let them see that, and you get to see a lot of fun things out on the airport. The second thing I wanted to mention is going on right now, downtown is our JUCO World Series, which you can tell by all the charter buses that are in town. There are many people come to town for this event. This year we had 12 teams instead of 8 teams that are playing in the World Series. But I would just encourage you, as you're out and about and you see some of these ball players, or you see some of their family members, welcome them to Enid. I've been very fortunate to get to talk to quite a few of them. Actually, yesterday out at the Memorial Day event, I walk up and I shake hands to a guy and I said, introduce myself, and he told me his name, and I asked him where he was from. He said, well, I'm from Indiana. And I said, wow. I said, are you in the service? And he said, I am in the service, but not here at Vance. He said, I'm just down here because of the JUCO World Series. My son plays on one of the teams. And he goes, I am so surprised by your city, by your event. So never miss an opportunity to talk to those folks that come to our town, spend dollars in our town, and let's encourage them to come back every chance that we get. So today, the topic I want to talk about, and I'll try not to make it too dull, but it is budget. If you notice last Tuesday, we passed our 2024-2025 annual budget. And it's always interesting right after we do that, how many phone calls I get, or people that stop me on the street and just ask different questions about that. And it's easy because to forget. It's easy to forget that sometimes if you haven't been through that process, people don't fully realize what goes into that, why we don't spend more time on it. That was one of the questions I got. And so I'd like to just address a few of those this morning, if that's okay. First of all is, I always get asked, it seems like y'all don't even discuss anything during the meeting whenever you pass that budget. You just read it, someone makes a motion in a second. Well, and that is a true statement. But the reason for that is, for the last 6 weeks, we have been having budget hearings where we have not just our regular meetings, but our special meetings, so that we actually discuss, we break that budget down, we talk about each one of the categories. So what you see at the very end is actually just the passing of it.
This is just where we bring back the draft that we spoke about 3 times. We presented the draft on April 22nd. We met 3 times, had the hearing on the 7th. And so this is our final stages in considering approval for the budget draft that we have presented to you.
The way that starts out, so you know, is staff goes through all the department heads and they put a budget together for their department. And that's very difficult. You know, everybody wants and needs something, but we have a limited amount of dollars that we can spend in our community because we, unlike the federal government, we have to have a balanced budget every year. We cannot spend more than we take in. So they put together a proposal, and then they start bringing that to the commission, and we start breaking that down in the different departments and looking at that. So I assure you, we look at that. We spend a lot of time on that budget, more than any other topic that we discuss throughout the year. So when at the final meeting, when it's time to actually adopt it, while there could be changes made, those adjustments have already all been made. So I assure you, there's more than just a few minutes involved on a $180 million plus budget. The other thing I wanted to mention is for those that really try to track that, you'll see that we cut our budget this year. And you go, oh man, what's that all about? It seems like Enid's doing well. And I will tell you, Enid is doing well. I always go back. The way I judge most things are I talk to our engineering department and find out how many projects we have going on. Right now they have 113 projects underway. And now that doesn't mean they're all in the process of building those, but they're doing the design work. They're getting ready. We'll have to eventually appropriate money for some of those that have not had that done yet. So, but that tells you how full our load is. So Enid's doing well. However, what we're seeing is a slowdown in our hotel motel tax, a little bit of a slowdown in our sales tax revenue. So when you start formulating a city budget, and I'll go back to what I said a while ago, you have to have a balanced budget at the end of the year. You cannot spend more than what you take in. Our budget is based off 3 basic things. Sales tax revenue, our utility fees, whether that's water, trash, and sewer, and then every once in a while, sometimes we get grant money. But you can't depend on grant money because it comes and goes. Some years you get more than you would in other years. But we are trying to project how many sales tax dollars we think will be coming in and how many dollars worth of utilities we anticipate that revenue to collect over the next 12 months. So we're trying to base a budget on a projection. It's not based on what we took in last year. And since sometimes the economy can very much be in flux, that's very difficult to do. I think we are very, very fortunate in Enid that the staff that we have, whether that's Aaron Crawford or Gerald Gilbert, they are very, very good finance people. And they always yield towards being more conservative than aggressive. And that helps our community. And let me explain that. We can always go back if sales tax revenues pick up substantially, if hotel motel tax starts picking up, we can always go back and add other projects when we have those additional funds. What we don't want to do is assume we're going to have funds, not have it, and already have those projects in the works and having to figure out how to pay for those. So we always yield to a more conservative budget than an aggressive budget. And I applaud them for doing that. That's hard to do. It's always easier to spend more money than it is to cut back, but they are very financially conscientious about the dollars that we have to spend, knowing that they're not our dollars, they're yours. Also, wanted to mention that The other thing you all always need to remember is that because of our finance people, we have put dollars in reserve. We never run anything down to zero. It's just not good business. That's not the way we've done it in the past. So all of our funds, you hear us talk about different funds, we have dollars that we carry over year from year from year, and we try our very best not to ever spend those down. We have a certain amount of money we like in those funds, and that's for in the event that something really comes up that was unexpected, a bridge collapses, which we've had happen over the last few years, and all of a sudden you have to come up with several $1 million. We have those dollars available. So I would just tell you from the city's point, we are in very, very good shape on our budget. One other question I got is that it looked like during the meeting I was reading the same thing over and over and over several times, 4 or 5 times, and we were making a motion and passing. And why do we do that? I mean, seems like we pass the budget, then we continue to do that over and over, which is kind of a true statement. Item number 7, recess to convene as the Enid Municipal Authority. What that is, so you know, is one time we passed the budget, and we did that, but we have different authorities, whether that's the Enid Economic Development Authority, the Enid Public Transportation Authority, and we have all these different trusts and authority, Advanced Development Authority, that have to be funded. They each have to have a budget. And while they are funded out of the main budget, there's, and we can call it a budget, but by law it's called a financial plan. So if you go back and you look at that, whenever I read that, on everything except the first item, it was a financial plan. So yes, it was the same thing redundantly over and over, but we had to pass a financial plan for each one of those authorities. So that's why that kind of all happens that way. So in conclusion, here's what I want to say. The city of Enid is in good shape. We are moving forward. A lot of good projects going on, more things coming very, very soon. We are not slowing down. We're not backing up. We're just being financially conservative and conscientious about the dollars that we have. But what can you do to help? And I always say this, whenever possible, shop Enid. Shop Enid. When you spend your dollars in Enid, then those dollars stay in Enid. I was told one time that for every dollar that's spent in Enid, that will turn over 7 different times by the time you go to a store, and then that business owner pays his labor or her labor, and it goes on and on and on and on. So it's important, whenever possible, shop Enid. We have a great town. We have so many great businesses here in town. And if you want to help your community, if you want to help your local businesses, spend local. So that's all I've got today. I hope that helps understanding the budget just a little bit. And once again, don't forget to send in your questions. It's easy to do. It's at askmason@enid.org, and I will do my best to always answer all those questions. Have a great day. Enjoy the next couple weeks, and we'll be talking soon. Thank you.